Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast Retro Life for You. My name is Chris, host of the show, and with us today always is Travis Rollins. Travis, how you
What's
doing, man?
happening? I'm
Not a lot.
wonderful.
We are not going to just beat around the bush here today because we have a very fun guest on today. I'm very excited for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and get things started. Travis and I, we got someone to talk to today. We think you guys are going to really like,
I
especially
know
being
I'm
fans of
excited.
the, yeah, especially being fans of the older, like the 80s, 90s martial arts films and everything. This is going to be great. So we'll go ahead and bring her in now. And Miss Cynthia Rothrock, thank you for coming on with us. We really appreciate you taking some time to come on and talk with us today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on.
And do we want to go ahead and do the Wayne's World thing where we're like, we're not worthy?
We could do that, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think any term less than legendary would be wrong. I mean, you're definitely the best, that I've seen in quite a lot, that I've watched in a lifetime, probably. I've always loved watching yourself and Chuck Norris and, um, gosh, Richard Norton and Billy Blanks and a lot of Don the Dragon Wilson. I mean, so many people over the years have made so many great films when it comes to the martial arts, and it just feels like we don't really get a lot like that anymore. It's like a completely different era for that type of
100%. And we
genre.
feel like, as far as I'm concerned, the original and queen of the martial art movie stars, like, it's ever since I can remember. Like, I remember going into those blockbusters and stuff and seeing Miss Rothrock on the daggum posters and on the fronts of the VHS cases and stuff, doing that big high kick where you're basically doing a standing split, which was amazing. Eat your heart out, Van Damme.
That is silly. I My first introduction to you was, I think, Martial Law. I think was the first one. Was that your first film here in the States, or was it China O'Brien?
Actually, my first film that I filmed was No Retreat, No Surrender. It wasn't filmed in the States, but it was with Shapiro Glickenhaus and with MC Yoon. So it was kind of a co-production, American production. Then I did China O'Brien. We did 1 and 2 at the same time, and then I did Martial Law. So Martial Law was like probably my third English speaking movie.
Mhm.
Second one that was shot in the United States.
See, I thought No Retreat, No Surrender was one of the others since it wasn't filmed here. But I do remember watching that one as well. I believe that was, and I don't want to butcher his name, but is it Lauren Avedon?
Yes, yeah.
That's okay. Yes, yes, great movie. I liked it as well. Um, I I thought I seen an interview with you somewhere where originally it wasn't supposed to be Lauren Avedon. It was supposed to be Kurt McKinney again back in the film. But would that have been like an extension of his character from the first movie or something, or was it just completely different and he was starring in the next, regardless?
Well, they did No Retreat, No Surrender with Kurt McKinney and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then they were doing
Mhm.
this sequel, but it really wasn't a sequel. It was a whole different movie, but they were going to use the same characters, so it really didn't fit in as a sequel. But sometimes, it was with a Hong Kong company that if one movie is successful, they'll title the second one Part Two. But in it, Van Damme was supposed to play the Matthias Hughes character. He was again the bad guy, and then Kurt McKinney was the good guy.
Right. That's interesting. I was just wondering how that would work out and everything. Um, I was reading up on you earlier. I knew you were a black belt in multiple um disciplines and everything, but what's this? If I butcher them, I'm sorry. Hopefully, I don't.
I would say
Uh,
Tang Sudo.
Tang Sudo, Taekwondo, Karate, Eagle Claw Kung Fu, Wushu, Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, and is it Pailun Tao Kung Fu? Is that how you
Yep,
say it?
yeah, Pai Lum Tao. Yep.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much the styles I have studied extensively since I was a young girl.
And of all the ones that you've taken, which one do you think fits you best and has made the most difference in your life for you?
Well, I would have to say, well, it's hard. First of all, I'd have to say Tung Sido because that was my base. That was my where I learned how to kick so well and to develop my power. but then I was so enticed in the kung fu styles because I love doing weapons. And back then, Tung Sudo didn't have any weapons, so I started doing the kung fu styles. So I would say probably Tung Sudo for my and wushu, which is from mainland China, for my weaponry and I guess more challenging, complicated forms.
Nice. And you were 5 years undefeated in forms competition.
There you go.
I mean,
I
that's
set out a goal. I set out a goal for 5 years. I wanted to be number one, and then I was going to retire. And when we say 5 years, it's not competing once a year. I competed about 30 times a year. So we're looking at, almost 200 times undefeated for those 5 years. And I just worked really hard. I went to Taiwan to study. I went to China and studied with the Chengdu Wushu team. I mean, I was just a fanatic to keep this goal. And then on fifth year, I was still number one undefeated. Then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to retire. And that's when my first movie came about, Yes, Madam, with Michelle Yeoh. So I transitioned, like kind of being blessed from competition for 5 years to going into the film industry.
awesome. That's a
Do
long
you
time to
think?
go undefeated.
Do you think if I don't know if you've been asked this before, it might be kind of a cliche question, but do you think if MMA was around back then, do you think you would have gotten into it instead of movies?
You know what? I don't think so, because when I was competing professionally, I did fighting, which was light contact, and I did forms and weapons, and I liked the performance part of it, the weapons, the difficulty about it, the challenges with it. Fighting, I always liked, but I'd end up with a black eye or bruised shin. So I don't think I can't really say, but if I look back at it now, I like what I did, and I don't think I would have switched. Obviously, when you're going into MMA, you're gonna
Right? Yeah,
get knocked out or bruised or hurt or damaged.
the recovery time, right? No
Yeah,
doubt.
and I guess I wasn't really into that.
Right. Would you say too? I've got one too. You have such an extensive body of work and going so consistently over the years. Would you attribute your longevity and the ability to do what you do to martial arts and fitness for sure?
Oh,
Or,
absolutely.
or is the martial arts a larger part of it? Because I mean, those of us that know that you martial arts impart fitness to you, but would you say that it leans one way or the other more so, like cardio and working out versus the martial arts aspect?
No, I don't think it leans more than one way. Fitness is fitness, whether you're doing cardio or you're doing martial arts. I think the advantage with the martial arts is you develop a mindset. So not only are you doing your physicality stuff, but you also have a mindset. And I think that's very important as you get older, to keep current, to keep your body fit, I feel like, I'm doing things what I was doing when I was 20, and I even feel some is even better, that I've developed, more strength and stuff like that. So I would say, the mindset for the martial arts and fitness is, whether you're in the gym or you're doing cardio or you're doing martial arts or you're doing another sport, as long as you stay fit and healthy and, you eat right, I think you'll maintain your fitness for your whole life.
Like that. Yeah, I would agree too that I haven't seen the newest of the new of your films, but started watching Lady Scorpions earlier today before I left work, and or before I left to come back to the house. Uh, and you look just as fabulous as ever, like doing everything. I was like, man, just haven't even missed a beat in all these years. Still
Well,
look great on screen.
wait till you see Black Creek. It's even better. The fights are a lot more complicated. There's a lot more fighting involved. It's more realistic and brutal. So yeah,
Nice.
you'll have to check out Black Creek, because that's kind of
Absolutely.
how I envision that movie. Is everything is really strong. Every movement, every fighter is when they hit a technique. There's no misses, and it would work on the street. I didn't want it to be anything like doing flips or things that you wouldn't do on the street. I wanted to be
Mhm.
real and brutal.
Heck
So
yeah, that's kind of like what happened. That's kind of like what worked for John Wick, the John Wick series as well too. Was they were saying that they wanted those things to, like if you saw Keanu out of breath or bleeding, he probably was.
Yeah, it's not an easy job doing action movies.
Right.
No, I have seen Black Creek. I actually bought it this past Friday, and I watched it Friday night, and I watched Lady Scorpions yesterday for the first time. And like you said, my gosh, I mean, do you bottle this and sell it? You know, this whole youthful, energetic feel, because I could use some of that. So if you're selling, let us know. We might find a market for that. Uh,
Yeah, I know. I get asked that a lot. I just feel like, I've always been a person that likes to be challenged. I've always had so much energy. Like even now, these past 5 weeks, I hiked over 10 miles a day. Sometimes, 14 miles in the past like 5 weeks, so it's challenging. It was hard for me, but like I said, I'm all about mindset. I accept challenges, and of course you take it at your own pace. For the first couple days I was really, really sore, but I just have a lot of energy, and I just push forward. I push forward.
well, we did want to ask you about that. I follow you on Facebook, so I see a lot of your pictures that you put up. You've been to some really, really exotic looking places. Very nice. And always talking about your hikes that you're taking and everything. I was telling him about that. I said, man, I said, she's been to some places I've never even heard of or seen on the map, I don't think, and they just look awesome. I mean, what is it like just try? I mean, other than this year, the past 5 weeks, I mean, is this something that you've made a habit of each year, making sure you visit certain places and making certain hikes and still challenging yourself like that? But what is it like just going to these places that you don't normally see every day?
Well,
And just and just making that trek and that hike and everything that you're doing.
yeah, it started after I retired from competition, because when I was doing competition, I would just train literally, 5 to 6 hours a day. And I was teaching martial arts, and I never did anything else. That's what that focus was for, just eat, drink, sleep, martial arts. And then when I retired and started doing movies, I started challenging myself with extreme adventure, like doing, scuba diving, hiking up to Mount Everest base camp, doing the W trek in Patagonia. I just had all these challenges. I like the adrenaline rush. And I love travel. I like going to off the beaten path places, places that people don't really go to. Of course, I'll do the touristy things just to do it, but my thing is to go like on those paths less traveled and
Mhm.
explore and come up with. I love photography, so I like shooting pictures. I like the workout. I like the physicality. I like the danger sometimes. When you're very hiking like up a cliff. I'm very careful. Watch. I don't do anything silly, but I think it's this adrenaline rush in me that I really like.
For sure. I would imagine that goes too, like you said, approaching things with a certain mindset. Uh, I'm big on mental health and very, very large advocate for recovery. And I would imagine that goes far toward that as well. I know I feel like when I'm out in the woods, I'd like to do a lot of hiking, hunting, and camping, or not hunting, but fishing and camping. And I think what I enjoy the most about it too is when I'm out there, I'm thinking about my kids and my family at home, but at the same time, I'm not. I only have to worry about taking care of me to get back to them. I don't have to worry about what's going on here, what's going on there, and it's kind of like one of those, some people saying that that's where I go to speak to God, because it's just all I'm worried about is me. And there's something about getting back to that, I guess, feral side of us, to where we're out there with the wild, and we're not in a camper trailer. We're out here with our tools to survive, and challenging ourselves to do so. There's something about that just brings a peacefulness and empowerment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing more brilliant than, this earth is just so beautiful, and there's so many cool places to go. And, a lot of people will say, oh, yeah, well, I don't have the money to travel these, but you just have to go find a mountain that's close to your house, or a hill, and hike, and just go and meditate, go to the ocean, go to a river, go to a creek, and just get in tune with nature. I mean, to me, I just love that. And, it's just, to me, I just feel so blessed that, I get to experience these places because they're so endearing to me and so beautiful. And like you said, it's very, very spiritual sometimes too, being out there and just
Mhm.
looking at this incredible nature that exists.
For sure. For sure.
So, back to some movies here a little bit. I was wondering, it never was much of a secret with fans and everything that when the video game Mortal Kombat came out, they kind of patterned their people after certain stars in the movies.
Mhm.
And I s- maybe it's coincidence. I doubt it. Sonya
Oh,
Blade
it's not. It's
looked
not. It's
exactly
well
like
known.
you.
It's well
I mean,
known. You're talking about Mortal Kombat. It's well
yes,
known.
I mean Liu Kang looks like
100%.
Philip Ree. I mean, you've got the guy Raiden looks like the guy from Big Trouble in Little China. I was wondering, did anybody ever approach you when the first movie came out to maybe play in that role of Sonya
Yeah,
Blade?
Sonya Blade.
actually, right. It was before the movie came out. It was the same producers. They did the video game, right?
Mhm.
And they called me in, and at that time, I was very on top of doing films. And my agent said, "This is how much she is," and they said, "Well, we don't want to pay that, so we're going to copy the character Sonya Blade, take Cynthia's signature move that she created, and put us in there and get away with it." So
Yeah.
it's funny, like if you look on Wikipedia, it says Cynthia Rothrock is Sonya Blade, and a lot of people say that, but they did. They took my likeness, they took my moves, and that was a way of not having to pay. So
And
which
that
was kind of sneaky, but whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So
Uh,
that
100%.
was the
And
story on that.
that too, that harkens to what's going on right now too. I have been thinking of ever since Chris told me that you were coming on with us, and I freaked out. I just completely fangirled over it. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, no way. But
Cool.
um I was thinking one of the questions that I wanted to ask you too is I hope what I'm seeing, I hope I'm right that I think I'm seeing is a kind of a shift toward an indie uh, resurgent as far as production studios and stuff are concerned, kind of like Blumhouse is doing with a lot of the horror films, because of what has recently. I don't know. I'm not a big on like official news, but what recently is being said to have transpired within the new Fantastic Four movie with Disney, and something that everybody's been worried about with AI, where Pedro Pascal, they were talking about just grabbing him for the 3 weeks that he could. No one's going to work together. They're all going to do their stuff on green screen, and then they're going to fill him back in with AI. I'm hoping that we really will see a resurgence of the indies and get rid of that, because it looks to me like that's becoming more and more of a real concern, especially when you look at how things have been progressing with what you just mentioned. They got away with but everybody knows we're all gamers too from our age too. So we know that Cynthia Rothrock up there is Sonya Blade. We all know it. And we're all excited, and that's so cool. Yeah, Sonya, Cynthia, but you didn't reap the rewards of that. They did, but like you said, it's basically just ripping you off.
Yeah.
And the fear that we spoke to a few other people about this exact same thing, that the thin ice that we're walking on with these corporations and the AI and them getting away with doing things like that. um, have you felt, or have you seen any more of that impact on the rise, like recently? Because you, like I said before, you're consistent with your work. It looks like you'll take a year or two off and then go back and do a project or three, and then take another one off. Have you seen that kind of thing be on the rise within what you're doing, or the indie side of things maybe possibly making a resurgence?
Yeah, I do see that. And especially like, if you're watching TV, you're watching Netflix, you see a lot of independent stuff, not only from America,
Mhm.
all over the place. And I don't know. It's kind of scary because, back in the day, we did our own stunts. We flipped our own cars. We didn't have CGI. You did all the
Mhm.
action. And now, like, you can just like walk under, run, and then this car is flipping over you on CGI. It's such a different world. And I was watching that TV show Black Mirror, where they created an AI character of Selma Hayek, and they just paid her and used her AI character, for the movie. And
Yeah.
it's scary because they can do that. I mean, look what they did with Carrie Fisher in Star Wars. They brought her back after she was dead, and they just like AI'd it, or make like Harrison Ford younger, or like stuff like that. So it's getting to a weird place for me. I mean, I like to see the actors doing their own stuff, their own acting, their own fighting. A little CGI is okay if you're going to have like an explosion or something like that. But as far as the actors go, like, I don't know. I really wouldn't want to watch something if I knew it was an AI actor instead of the real actor.
Right.
And you see a lot of that on YouTube as well these days. You see a lot of
Yeah.
what you think might be a video at first, then when you start watching it, you can immediately tell, 'cause it's not that good just yet, but you can tell it's an AI voiceover, and you can tell that the person on the screen is either a stock video of something or another video from something else that they're putting the voiceover on top of it, thinking that it kind of aligns up with what they're, with their mouth moving and everything. Kind of like
And
watching
Disney's
something
leading the
theater.
charge, like you
They
mentioned,
are.
with Star Wars. Disney is leading the charge on this. All
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
backhanded things that we, the fans, and that the entertainers are experiencing, and thankfully, it looks like some of you guys are standing up for it, for yourselves, for the industry, for the artistry, for the fans, for just like, we're not going to be treated this way.
Yeah.
So we had spoken to Diane Peterson here a while back, the first lady to be accepted into the Stuntman's Guild, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And she was talking about that with the stunts and stuff too. How, like, she used to really get hit by a car, like, actually. I was saying, what?
It's crazy to think
I know.
that.
I hate watching. You're on, on Facebook or something, and you're looking at, oh, let me look at this video, and you're, no, it's AI. It's and I think they start saying it's an AI video because like you said, you could see it after a while, but at first it gets you, especially like these animal ones. They have like a cobra fighting a leopard or something. Like,
Right.
oh, it's AI,
Right.
and then I'll turn it off. But yeah, I mean, who knows what the industry is going to be like in 10 years, but hopefully independent people, like myself, doing our own pictures and sticking to, the basics, the rules, without using all the fakery, that,
Right.
there's still the fans out there that want to see that. And I, for one, and you guys too, want to
100%.
see that as well. And that's
Yep.
probably why the resurgence of, independent pictures are coming, because they don't have the money to do all that other stuff.
Well,
It's
and then
insane.
introduce crowdfunding now. Crowdfunding is doing a lot, it seems like, with some independent
Yes.
films these days, which
For
is
sure.
great. I mean, speaking of the way of filming things the right way, like I said, I watched Black Creek on Friday, and it felt like I was transported back to high school again almost. Only the film looked newer, obviously,
Yeah.
because
Nice.
back then when we're watching like China O'Brien or Tiger Claw or something like that, you could tell the way the film itself, the quality of the film itself compared to today with high definition and 4K and all that good stuff, how different it looks and everything. But it felt like I was back in high school again. And not only did it feel like, because of the type of movie it is, I mean, it's like I'm seeing a China O'Brien reunion. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the big three from that movie and this one here, and then adding Don the Dragon Wilson to it and seeing Keith Battaglia pop up in there with oh my God, but Benny
Benny the Jet or
Benny the
Keaton.
Jet. There you go. And see all these names popping up. It's almost like watching a different version of the Expendables to me, from like watching the old the old martial arts films and everything that I enjoyed so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because when I was going to do, which was a great thing, I raised the money for Black Creek on crowd fundraising. So it is a crowd-funded fan movie, and I always wanted my friends in it, and I just wanted it to be dark and gritty. I kind of was thinking of Yellowstone, but on a very small budget. But the actors were fans in the movie, and we made it work. It was a very small budget. We had 14 days to shoot that movie. We come up with a 2-hour movie. It was such a blessed project. We have Jim Peterick, who co-wrote Eye of the Tiger. He is doing the main song on the end. I don't know if you know that. She Scares Me. That's from Jim Peterick.
Wow.
And you know, who gets that, you know, just this little film. And I saw him doing an interview, you know, and they said, so Jim, yeah, you're doing some music now for movies. He goes, yeah, I did Eye of the Tiger for Rocky, and I did She Scares Me for Black Creek for Cynthia Rothrock. So, you know, it was just, you know, we're going to do the sequel, and hopefully we'll have longer than a 14-day shoot and a little bit bigger budget. But, you know, for what we created for 14 days shooting was just magic, with all the fight scenes in it, you know, all the stunts in it. You know, all the stunts are real. It's like, you know, the guys are really falling off the roof. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of all the fans that supported it and made this movie, you know, come about.
I want to ask you, thinking of speaking of Miss Diane Peterson, made me think of it too. You know, with her role that she played in the 70s and 80s, coming in as a woman into that genre. And then, I mean, to be honest, the only two I can remember would be you and Michelle Yeoh. You know, we had like Linda Hamilton, but she wasn't a martial artist. You know, she just was a tough lady.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver, but they were
lady kind of
portraying tough women, you know, where you've got the two of you are really the only two I can think of who were those real, true action stars and real martial artists as well. What was it? Can you give us a little bit of what it was like in the 80s for you? Were you taken, for like Diane Peterson, she said she wasn't taken very seriously and she was kind of shut out. Was it kind of the same for you, or were just the men kind of in awe of beautiful ladies that can do these crazy things? So they're like, yes, let's do that. Or was it kind of, did you have struggles with that as well?
Well, I had struggles in competition because I had to compete against the men on weapons. In 1982, in North America, I was #1 of the men's division, and women, the very few that was in it.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
I came across, you know, a little bit there, but, you know, I was very lucky that Yuen Biao, who directed Yes, Madam with Michelle Yeoh, and I had the, you know, the guts, I guess, to have 2 women action stars and create as leads in this movie. You haven't seen that, like full out, blown out, like tough action that, you know, a lot of men wouldn't be able to do. And I was taken very seriously because they saw that from day one on the set that I could really fight, you know. And it's funny, I'll tell you a little funny story. When I was shooting No Retreat, No Surrender, we were shooting in Thailand, and we had a scene in the boxing ring. And they were like, oh, no, women can't go in the boxing ring. That's disrespectful, right? We're like, oh,
right.
You know, so it's okay. So we'll do this scene down on the floor. And then they saw me fighting, and they're going, okay, she can fight. All right, you can shoot that scene in the ring. But since she's a woman, she can't go through the ropes. You know how you go through the ropes like that? I roll under the rope. And that's how I had to go in. That was my stipulation to fight in the ring. I couldn't go in like the guy. I was like a lowly woman and had to roll under the ring. And you look at that movie, you see that, you know. So, I mean, it was such a different age back then. And, you know, Golden Harvest took, you know, did China O'Brien. They has a woman lead, which was unheard of back then, to be a lead in the action stars. And then for a while I did, you know, Fast Getaway, and I did Martial Law. And those were kind of like, yeah, you can fight, but still the guy has to come in and save the day. And then it wasn't until, you know, like Sworn to Justice again, then where people were saying, yes, a woman can be the lead and she can fight and we can make money on this. So, you know, it's been a struggle, and I think it's still like that now. You know, you still, for all the men action stars that you see, there's very few women that actually can fight. You know, that can really you know, do fight.
They can fight and act. That's what made me sad with. I thought Gina Carano was doing such a wonderful job with the roles that she was taking on as well. And that's another thing too about, like you said, you know, how such a different time it was versus now. And not to get too far onto that side of things, but I like to defend this too and be like, what are you talking about? We love strong women. Like, look at China O'Brien, look at Sigourney Weaver, Wonder Woman, Supergirl. We used to name them off for days, you know. And it's excuse me, it's when it's taken out of context. I think for our stories anyway, not for your personal situation, but when it's taken out of context or it's putting too much into it. You know what I mean? Like we had who was it? Valeria was the queen of Conan's heart. You know, is so we love our strong women. We just I don't know. I feel like it's almost like we put too much emphasis on the battle of the sexes these days. We went from one extreme to the other, I guess I'm trying to say.
It's a lot better than the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. I think in the last 10 years, you know,
for sure,
we've seen a lot more strong women in film.
For sure.
Yeah, and when you hear the argument, they say that, like with Disney, for example, you brought them up earlier, Travis, with all these Marvel movies that they have put out, the Avengers and the little side movies and such. People, well, not everybody, but some people were having fits and were saying they're just pushing, woman power. They're bringing all these strong women out. You got Captain Marvel and, like he mentioned, all these other characters and everything. And I never understood that. I don't see that. These are all the people we grew up reading about in comics, anyways.
Yeah, we already love them.
It's not like it's new. Like he said, we've already loved what we were seeing anyway. And we're just seeing it on the big screen finally. And like in your movies back in the day, when like you mentioned China O'Brien, those were great movies. It didn't need to have a strong male lead in it or anything to make it good. I mean, we watch these movies because we love martial arts movies. We love good stories and everything behind it.
And we loved you. Like that's the other
right,
thing too. We loved you. We wanted to see you kicking some butt. We loved it.
So, you mentioned you were talking about some of the like Hong Kong films and everything, like the first one you did, Yes Madam, and everything. I believe over there you guys did a lot of your own stunts and everything, didn't you? It was a little bit more hardcore than what's over here.
Yeah, I did all my fighting. Maybe if there was a high fall or something like that, they would have a guy do it. But pretty much like 90, I would say 98%, was me doing the fighting. And it's like when you see the Jackie Chan movies, how he gets hurt. I got hurt almost on every film the same way because it's so challenging and it's brutal. And in Hong Kong, it's not like in America. If you're getting hit, they want you to hit hard. They don't want you to look like you're hitting hard. They really want you to get hit hard, So when I did my first movie with Michelle Yeoh, we would go home with our arms one day were full of black and blue marks. We just looked like we had like a black sleeve shirt on because we didn't have like long sleeves to put pads on, and we were fighting all like hand. And yeah, I learned a lot like from then on to wear a jacket where I could put pads in it. But it's close to real fighting and doing the Hong Kong movies that you can get.
I tell you, what it makes me think of, Travis.
Sure.
It makes me think of wrestling, where people say wrestling's fake. Well, yeah, it's a predetermined thing, but these people are really taking these bumps and falls. So onto the movies, you guys are really taking a lot of these bumps and everything, getting hurt. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You told a funny story, and I don't remember if it was the Scott Adkins interview I watched with you, or if it was a different one. You told this funny story. I was hoping you could remember to tell for Travis to hear. And it has to do with you guys being more physical in those Hong Kong movies, and that you got. I think did you get your nose broken or just busted one time?
Oh, it was during, a couple times, but during 2 times, Yes, Madam, I was fighting 6 guys with swords and I had a staff and we were, choreographing this. It was all fast, nonstop action. When I turned, the guy hit me in the nose with the sword. My nose swelled up and Corey Yuen come over to me and says, "Your nose looks better that way." And then one time, I think it was in Righting Wrongs, the guy has to put a chain around my neck and he came right down on my nose, right? And again, the tears are coming out of your eyes because you can't, when you get hit in the nose, you can't control that. And again,
man
my
can't
nose,
see, man can't fight.
Maybe that's why I have a funny nose. Never broke it, but just like bruised it a lot, The same thing every part of my body.
I think it was a Sammo Hung movie you were doing with him, and he had put in his stunt double, I guess, and you actually had kicked him. It's like you were. I think you said you were kicking over his head or something, and you'd explain to him where to stand so it looked right. And I correct me if I'm wrong. I think when you come around with the amount of power you came around with, you knocked him cold out. And
well, I knocked him down. Yeah, it was an interesting day because we were shooting, Shanghai Express and Sammo or Millionaires Express, whatever how they called it. There's two different names. Sammo was not in a good mood. He was he lost a lot of money gambling the night before, so he was not happy. And when I was doing this spinning kick, the guy kept coming in close, so I had to go over his head because I would kick him, but it was reading as a miss because I was going over his head. So Sammo was like going, yeah. And I said, well, I don't want to kick him. He's coming in too close. So he said, well, kick him. So I did the kick super slow. And I said, if you come in, I'm going to hit you. And the guy came in and whack, hit him. He was down on the ground. He had like some blood coming out of his face. And I felt so bad. It was my second movie. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then one of the stunt guys came up to me and said, oh, don't feel so bad. He's the guy that hit you in the nose with the sword.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
Great.
Do it again. Do it again.
Exactly.
Sammo always tripped me out. He always was phenomenal to me because of how big he was and the way he moved. I was always mind blowing. Like he could do so much as a bigger guy. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he was phenomenal. I remember when I was going to do Shanghai Express, everybody kept telling me, oh my God, Sammo hits so hard and you're going to get hurt and you're going to do this and that. But I'll tell you what, I did take a lot of little bumps and, like I am a tough person, so I could take that. But, in general, for being such a big guy and so overweighted me, he had control. He had a lot of control, and he is such, for that size, a phenomenal, martial artist. And he actually lost weight after a while because he didn't want to play like the fat guy anymore. And the people in Hong Kong didn't like it. They didn't like him skinny. They said, no.
Yeah. I think he had gained it back to do. We
all know and love. And then he did. He gained the weight back.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in because I remember seeing him skinny for a minute, and then which this may have been years after he gained the weight back, but he did. I think he did one of the Yip Mans with Donnie Yen, where him and Donnie had a fight scene together. It was also spectacular. I want to ask you, when you worked with Bolo, did you get to know Bolo very well, or did you have much time together? And what was that like with Bolo? I feel like we don't shine enough light on Bolo. He's like one of the best bad guys in movie history.
Well, yeah, we did the Tiger Claws. I think he was in 1 and 2. And I just remember I was so excited to fight Bolo because I'm doing an American movie with a Hong Kong actor. And I'm like, wow, I could really hit him hard because I was told once I started doing American movies, you don't have to hit so hard. Right. And I was so used to hitting Hong Kong.
You're hurting people over here.
Just hit him so hard. And it was so funny. He didn't want me to hit him at all. He didn't even want me to tackle him. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
So funny.
But I mean, Bolo is like the, Chinese Hercules. There wasn't anybody as big or as built as him back in the day,
Yeah.
His presence on screen was massive, and he played like, such a bad guy, that could fight, but also, that looked the part.
For sure. Yeah, that's why I started laughing so hard when you said that too, because I could see you being so excited, and he was like, I don't want you to, but you look like you could take it.
Right.
Yeah, and he was like, no, I don't want to get hit.
That's great.
That's hilarious. What was the guy's name? I'm just out of curiosity, since you bring up Tiger Claws. I remember playing. I can see his face in my mind, but I can't think of his name. It was not a strange name. I'm sorry?
Jalal Mary, he was the lead.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's it. I used to butcher that name. I always thought the J was silent for some reason. But yeah, I always, thank you. I just wanted, it was burning my mind earlier today. I was saying, I want to ask her who this was because I can't remember that man's name to save my life.
Yeah, it was interesting because, talk about making your dreams come true. He always wanted to be in movies. And when we did Tiger Claws 1, he used to own like a diamond store, so he put up all the money for the movie. He co-wrote it. He was part of the director. And I remember being on set, they didn't have a car that they wanted to blow up. They were supposed to have it. And he blew up his Porsche. And I was like, oh, wow. My gosh, no. Yeah, just like showed up because we didn't do the CGI back then. Everything was real, and he just was gonna, do what he had to do, to become an actor, and he's become so successful. He's like producing projects as well.
I mean, you only live once. Why not? I mean,
Right?
Heck yeah.
if you own a diamond store, it's just a car. You can always get another car.
Yeah, so
Right. No kidding.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
diamond.
Do you have a favorite fight scene from your career? Like in all the movies that you've done, one that really stands out to you that pushed you as a martial artist or maybe even an actor or anything?
yes, there's many, but the one that comes to mind is when I was doing Lady Reporter, and we have a fight scene on ropes that are probably about 70, 80 feet high, and we do the whole fight scene on those ropes. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be nice. I bounce off the little rope and it'll be good. Well, those ropes gave you rope burn. It was so hard. I had, like, if someone with me, I had all these marks all over my legs. It was not easy, but it was a very difficult fight scene, like to do all these moves and stay on the rope. And I remember one of the stunt guys I was fighting got his foot caught, broke his foot. And then another guy was climbing up to the top and it collapsed and he fell on the top of the truck because the ropes were like here and the big truck was inside, and he got paralyzed for life. I mean, it was a very,
Wow.
very dangerous fight scene. But when I saw it afterwards, I was like, wow, oh my God, this is like movie magic, that, when I look at these things today, these films, it's like, shoot, wow, I really did that, because it's crazy stunts. And, I think for the Hong Kong movie, like in Yes, Madam, just the ending fight scene took a month to shoot. That whole movie was 7.5 months. So you can take as long as you want, do the stunts over and over again. So you compare it to something like Black Creek, we shot the whole movie in 2 weeks, it was like,
Wow.
it was such a different world over there. And I think that's why the action is so incredible, because they got the money, they got the time, to make it all, look right.
Yeah.
I mean, even in doing it in 2 weeks, it didn't look like it was a rushed movie by any means at all.
I know, it was so crazy. We were so nervous to get everything done, and we had so many actors in it that were fighting, and we had fight scenes with people that had the incentive to be in a fight scene. So they were from all over. We had, I think, 7 or 8 different countries. So we would our choreographer Mike Moeller, he would set it up, and we would send the choreography to people and say, you need to learn this now. Like, keep working on it, because we don't have time for rehearsals. We don't have time for a lot of takes. We got to get in there and shoot it. And I mean, like, if you look at Black Creek, we shot that fight scene in the casino like within like 40 minutes, and I wanted 3 hours for it. In a real world, in the next Black Creek, I'm going to have one full day for each fight scene. Well, yeah, we had 40 minutes to shoot it. So it was a really tough shoot, but I think, when you look at it, what we pulled off for, what it was, it's incredible. And I keep thinking, my God, if I had $1 million to do that movie and I could have had 20 days to shoot, what I could have delivered.
Right.
But I'm just, like I said, just proud of everybody that was involved in it, that pulled it all together, worked hard. We shot it in Arizona. It was freezing. It was the middle of the desert. And I wanted the night shoots. You were talking about the lighting. I wanted that eerie fire, like golden look,
Right.
And it cost more. You had to light the whole town. It wasn't like a lot of independent films shoot it in the day, because they don't need lights. They just can just shoot it, But yeah, we made it very complicated for ourselves.
Well,
That's amazing, though. 2 weeks and put out a product like that. I mean, a film student gets a month to make a 15-minute video. I mean, it's like, wow, that is mind-blowing.
It's a 2-hour movie as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is amazing. There's just another accolade that we can tout and add to the list of Miss Cynthia Rothrock's amazing achievements in life.
And you know what I wanted? I wanted in Black Creek every scene to make a difference. Like, if you get up to go to the bathroom, you miss something. So a lot of movies, to fill up time, they'll use like stock shots, or you'll see like a 2-minute of the town, and this and that. We don't have any of that. It's everything means something, to go in. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you have to prep for it? Like with writing and pulling the crew together. So how long did it take to prep to pull off that unbelievable task?
Well, it took us about it took us a couple months to write it. And then it took us about 8 months to promote it and do the crowd fundraising. And then we went into pre-production. It took us about, I'd say, 2 months. Then it took us 2 weeks to shoot it. And then
Wow.
it took us a while on the editing. I'd say probably we were editing for about 6 months because with our partner, James Marlowe, his company, we worked with the editor because we would, even before our screening, we were still editing it. I said there will not be a miss in this, because I was just looking at something right now. I was watching Netflix. I was watching The Preacher, and the guy threw a technique, and I was like, that was a miss. And that drives me crazy as a martial artist, watching these martial art movies that have so many misses in. And I said, there's not going to be a miss. And I just painstakingly went over. And we did shoot. One good thing we did do is we didn't cheap out on this. We used 3 red cameras, Komodo cameras, and we did shoot in 7K, which saved us a lot because we could edit it as much as we want. Like, so say, for example, we had a scene with a lady with a hat on and the 2 guys talking. I didn't like that hat in there. So we could go in and crop in just on their faces. So it was, it was such a great savings for us that we spent the money. We had, I don't even know how many terabyte of footage we had. We had so much to go over and find. And, one of the things that went wrong is we didn't have a DIT. And we didn't know that on set. And what that is, DIT, is they put all the files together. So now we have terabytes of footage that weren't correctly marked. And we'd have to go through everything and find the scene. I'd be like, no, I know we have a better angle of Don Wilson, in this one scene. Just go through everything because it was so messed up. So it really was a long, tedious thing. So I would say it took about 2 years from start to screening, almost 2 years.
So good planning and then execution. That takes perfect execution, I would think.
Part 2 will be a little bit smoother. We've learned, where the mistakes are, and definitely we got to have a DIT.
So with you being a writer, the star, and producer, just it may be a silly question, but just for us not in the know. When we look at credits, we see producers, associate producer, executive producers, associate producers. What does that station in the movie making process look like? Like as far as, the role that you play as a producer versus associate producer, and what we'll keep plugging Black Creek and just for that in particular, I guess.
Well, executive producer is usually the person that puts the money in the film. In Black Creek, we've had, since it was a crowd fundraiser, we have a lot of executive producers that got that incentive. Producer are the people that really do the work. My partner and I, Robert Clancy, we produced it. So we did everything. We even did the wardrobe. We did the wardrobe because they were like, oh, it's like $90,000 for a wardrobe person. We're like, oh my gosh, we don't have that.
Wow.
Thrift store. I mean, the cavalry uniforms, they were like $700 to rent, and some of our backers bought their own, and a lot of people, wore their own costumes, and we would be like, okay, that's good. That's not, because one thing I wanted is to be an authentic Western. No zippers, no rubber on the boots, no sneaker prints like on the ground that you see in a lot of these movies. So we try to keep it really authentic. And, we would tell people, okay, you need to dye this with tea, and then we got to dirty it up and all this and that. So I had a lot of hats on. It was really an experience for me, because normally when I do a movie, I just go in, sit in the trailer, study my lines, come out, do it, go back, study my lines. But this time I had no time to sit in my trailer. I had to be on set, making sure everything was okay. If there was an issue, dealing with it, watching all the other actors, doing my acting scenes. So it was a new experience for me. And I can't say it was easy, but I totally will do it again. I totally will do it again, because what I love is that I had the control. I had the control to,
For sure.
If I had more money, I could have brought a bigger better film like what I anticipated. But when you have a $400,000 budget, you know, and
Right.
350 of it goes to the crew, you know, you don't have that much, you know, to play with. So
For sure.
yeah, so it was definitely an experience, but I love it. I love being involved in the editing, because now I look at my other films and I go, oh, that's a miss, or why did they take that angle? Why didn't they do this? Why couldn't I help in the editing? You know, so it's kind of spoiled me a bit, because I realize now that I want to bring whatever film I do the best that I can bring to it. And when you're not in control, you don't have any say. You just, you know, they just shoot it and they do what they want. And so I plan on, you know, doing a lot of my own films now, just for that reason, because I it's not about the money, it's about the quality and what I can bring to the screen, with
That
not
makes,
just myself, but with all the actors and, you know,
for sure.
the team.
That makes me so far beyond happy to hear too, and I wish you all the success in the world with it, because harkening back to what we talked about earlier in your career and doing the movies overseas where everything looks so amazing. Just what pops to my mind immediately when you talk about that, I can't remember the name of the production company, but there's one in Thailand, like Tony Jaa, when he hit the scene, I was just blown away. And that same production company, you know, when Tony started having his issues, and I seen another couple of films done in Thailand, and I fell in love with the Thai martial arts movies in the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, because you could see they were really hitting each other. One dude had I can't remember the name of it. It was some like Olympic team or something ended up in a fight, and dude had like a piece of wood on fire, and they slowed it down. Like, so they do like a reshow of the clips to where they really hit that dude, bow, right in the side of the head. The thing is, they were really kicking and punching. You could see, it's like they put baby powder on, so you could see the dirt fly off of their head when they got hit. And no, that realness though, it brings such a, it draws in the audience so much, you know,
Well,
when you can
one
see.
of the things in Hong Kong is you get hit in the face, but what they would do is they would take the hand and put it, the pants on it and the foot, and just whack you with the foot. So you'd see the close up of the person, but you really get hit. And I just remember when I shoot Lady Reporter, I had to come around a corner and I was going to get hit in the face, you know, with this foot, which is really a hand, but it still hurts, you know, and you can't flinch. You can't make a move. You know it's coming, and you just go with it.
Just gotta take it and go.
Yeah.
Man.
So would you say is there any sense in asking you your favorite or one of your top that you've worked on? I would think it would have to be Black Creek then now, yes, since that one's such a project for you. That's such a personal accomplishment and project for you, yeah?
Yeah, it is, you know, and I'll tell you what's more hopeful for me is when I was going to do the crowdfunding raise, you know, raising the movie, a lot of my peers, a lot of the guys says, oh, you won't do it. You know, so-and-so didn't do it. Why do you think you would do it? And they were kind of like trying to tell me, don't do it. You can't make this movie happen. Right. And it was kind of
motivation.
No, it was a motivation that I'm going to do it, you know, and Black Creek became the second highest action picture funded in the history of Kickstarter.
What? All right.
I mean, like, you know, so I always tell people, don't let people put you down. And, you know, there's a couple people out there that don't want to see this movie succeed, you know, and, you know, everybody, I don't even know why I hate this, but you get haters and you get jealous people, and they just say all this stuff because they don't want you to succeed, you know, and I just, you know, I showed everybody, yes, look what I did. And, you know, if you think you could raise that money on Kickstarter, shoot it in 2 weeks, get a full action cast, you know, get Jim Peterick to do the music, you know, and make it to be like like we are like, I think of all Westerns, which is funny because it's a martial art movie, but also like the Western, we're like in the top 60 of all Westerns, including every Western ever made, you know.
That's awesome.
And True West magazine said we were the best streaming movie for 2025. So, you know,
my God, congratulations.
I just, you know, I'm so glad I didn't listen to anybody. And for those that really don't want to see you succeed, that's like, it's so sad because it's like, we should all be supporting each other. We should all be supporting independent pictures, and unfortunately,
Mhm.
it's not always like that. So
100%. I
but
know we
I
got to
did
let
it.
you go.
I did it. I showed them, and I'm very proud of
Heck
everybody.
yeah. And you've got a fan club out here, believe you me. I know we don't want to keep you on all day or anything, but I got just another kind of question about the Black Creek. With it being the martial arts and everything too, is it for the audience that doesn't know or haven't, we're all going to run out and watch trailers or the movie, one of the two, before we see the movie. Is it set up like, with it having the martial arts part to it, is it like a spaghetti western, or is it set up like I guess I'm just asking, like, if you could give us kind of an overview of the tone of what we're getting into.
It's totally different. It's not a spaghetti western. It's not a martial art film. It has a lot of character development. You really care for the characters. It's dark and gritty because that's what I like. I like those kind of movies. I don't like it, a funny haha or trying to make jokes or something. It's very, very serious. The women in it are very, very strong. The fighting is very brutal. Like any move, is going to knock someone out. And the reason I geared that, it was kind of like, that's how I like to see movies, and that's what I like to see. So that's how I based this movie on. So when you see Black Creek, you're seeing the vision of Cynthia Rothrock's mind.
Nice.
On a small budget. But
that's got me hyped up.
we had so many amazing responses from people. I think we already have a backer for our second film, that just saw it, wasn't an action person at all, just saw the movie and loved it, so I think we're, yes, there's little mistakes here and there, but giving a 14-day shoot and small budget, I think it came off so well, and always leaves room now to be better on the second one. But
Sure.
yeah, I think a lot of people said it's like the Expendables of martial artists, and
seeing everybody all at once in that film was great.
Yeah, what's interesting is like all my lead actors are like in their 60s. And they look great. They're fighting great. They're in incredible shape. They're fighting as good as they did back, in the 80s, 90s, and I love that. I love that. And I hope it's an inspiration for people to see, that it doesn't matter what your age is, that, you have the mindset and you keep fit and you keep working out, and you're a martial artist. You do martial arts your whole life, that, you don't get old. Like a lot of people were saying to me, well, you better make sure they don't get hurt, and yeah, nobody got hurt. It was all good, so I'm proud of that. And I hope that's inspiration for people too, is that, that they see, a lot of, the actors really, especially like so special at Richard Norton, who passed away. This was his last movie. And he came to the set injured. He actually came, he tore his calf muscle. So we had to change all the choreography on the day before we were going to shoot because he couldn't kick. So we had to put a scene in where some of his guys are fighting me because he had a very hard time twisting with his calf muscle. But he said to me, he said, Cynthia, we're professionals. We just do what we got to do, and he was such a brilliant villain. He actually wanted to play a different part in the movie, and I talked him into it. And I said, no, you can play this great villain.
He does play a good villain.
When you see it, he's amazing, and I'm so proud that this was his last.
On a past episode, I had told Chris that Richard was the prime imperator on the Mad Max movie. He was like, "What? I didn't know that was him." I'm like, "Yeah, he's behind. He's behind the get up and everything." But yeah,
you learned a lot. You learn a lot about him. I don't remember, Cynthia, if I told you or not when I first emailed you. We'd actually reached out to Richard, and he was going to come on the show with us, like you did today, and talk with us. And I had to reschedule on my end, and I've kicked myself in the butt 1,000 times over for this, because just a week later is when we lost him and everything.
Yeah,
and
it was such a shock. It's still, you can't believe it because he was so fit. He wasn't sick, and just shows you, that you never know when your time is up, and it's up, whether you're sick or not or whatever, but he was I think he'll live in everybody's heart. He was such an amazing martial artist, instructor, actor, he's definitely, one of the all-time legends.
And
for
I know
sure.
you've mentioned this before, and I don't know what the likelihood of this is now or anything with his passing and all, but you had mentioned before maybe we want to do a China O'Brien 3 or something. Would you even consider doing that now without having him in the movie or something?
Yeah,
Or
we were talking. It's very hard to get the rights. I'm trying to get the rights to China O'Brien, and of course, it was going to be Keith, myself, and him. And now we're thinking, okay, yeah, we could still do it, and maybe we bring in a younger guy that was Richard's son. Something like that. So it will
yeah.
still have his memory. And maybe in the film he passed away, something happened, so definitely we would love to honor him if we do get the chance to do China O'Brien.
Well, I'd like to ask you one last question, and then, like Travis said, we don't want to take up all your time today. We could talk all day long to you. I'm not going to
For
lie.
sure.
But
Oh yeah,
for
there's so
any,
many things
or
we still could ask.
yeah, for any young girls out there that want to get into martial arts, or maybe you want to get into the movies, would you have any words of advice for them? Do you want to give to them or anything that you would say to them?
Yeah, I think every person, not only young girls, but men, women, children, should do martial arts. I am a strong advocate about that. I mean, it's so important to know how to defend yourself. And at the same time, you're getting in good shape. So, it makes you stronger, gives you a good mindset. And, if you want to get in films, it's a hard path to take, to get in action pictures. But I would say, get your skill down really well in the martial arts, and then find a good casting director or a stunt coordinator that could help you get involved in that. And take your acting classes, because nowadays you have to be able to act. It's not just your action; you've got to have both. So do your homework and put the work in for if you want to have this goal, you have to work at it. It just doesn't happen.
And my daughter took a little bit for a while. I think it was, I'm probably going to butcher the name. I know it, Ukajutsu or something like that. It basically, it would teach them. It's got a mixture of things. Had jujitsu in it and had a little bit of taekwondo in it, but it also taught them how to take a fall and correctly, where you don't hurt yourself when you're falling, or how to maybe absorb a blow as someone gets to you, and then various things it taught them. But it taught them a lot of jujitsu as well. She finished out at a blue belt for the place closed down, and she never got to go back. And she always wanted to go back and finish out with jujitsu. And she was able to start all over again. I think she just didn't want to start all over again. Is what it came down to. But I was really happy she took what she did. She learned quite a lot, and it did make a difference in her life too. So, to just reiterate what you said, if any kid out there, boy, girl, whatever, wants to take it, I would definitely say go for it. If your parents can put you through it, take advantage of it and go through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to go ahead and put out there before we go today that you've got going on immediately now, or you like your websites and stuff?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm very dominant on Facebook. I have an Instagram account, but I try to answer everybody on Facebook. So pretty much every day I'm doing that. I just started a subscription page where I think Facebook charges $1.99 a month, and we do a lot of training on it, a lot of things. It's more, right now on Facebook, I have like about 150,000 followers. So it's hard for me to see messages from people, but on the
It,
subscription page, I could talk to people. I could be more intimate.
if
It's
you could
more.
talk about that subscription page, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know I actually tried it a couple of times. I know several other people did too. For some reason, it doesn't take you to a page where you can go to the subscription page. It redirects you to like like the error 404 page or whatever it is. Do you get it
Uh,
when you go to a bad site?
you know what? I don't know, because I just started it.
Yeah.
All I know is I have a promotion link from them, and I could do it. But I think if you Google Cynthia Rothrock subscription page, that maybe,
Mhm.
because it is a Facebook thing, that
Okay.
that they would do it, or like every so often, especially when I post a training video, I'll say a training video is up in the subscriber page, and try to find it there. So that's more of an intimate thing. I still teach seminars all around the world, and I keep current, like where I'm going to be, so people from various parts of the world can come and do a seminar. So you can find everything, like pretty much, on Facebook.
Awesome.
Awesome. I would be using that. My wife is, I'm married to a therapist, and she's gaining ground in a lot of places. So I know we said we're gonna let you go, but just real quick, the training videos, it just made me think of that. Is it basic exercise, or like what are the training videos?
Well, I do have a YouTube channel, Cynthia Rothrock channel, and I do have an association where people could do it, where we do live trainings and things like that. But it's a mixture of everything, because I think everything's important. So it's martial arts. It might be exercises to develop your balance, to strengthen your abdomen. Like today, I just did a video for my subscribers on a TRX. They can learn how to use the TRX, which I really like. I'm a big fan of that. And I also show them an alternative. Well, if you don't have a TRX, this is how you could do this exercise. So it's a bunch of like any information that I think is good. Or if someone says, hey, can you show me how to do this spinning wheel kick? Then I'll do that or whatever. So
Heck yeah.
It's kind of, what people want or what I happen to be doing at the moment. Or I think it's like, like I was just hiking in Sequoia in the redwoods, and I did a video for them, like exercises to do before you hike and after you hike to help your chest.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we really thank you for coming on today, Cynthia. You've been so awesome to take the time to come on and talk to us and just give us a good time about these movies you've been in and everything, and especially Black Creek, the new movie you got going out. Everybody, make sure you watch that. It's an excellent movie, and I look forward to the second one when it comes out. So
thank you. Yeah, guys, you can it's streaming on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Fandango, DirecTV, Spectrum on Demand. So pretty much you can find it on one of the platforms. And if you do watch it, send me a little message, what you thought of it. I love like reading the comments from people. And
absolutely. It's been such a pleasure having you on today. Such an honor.
You'll have to watch it now.
Oh, I'm going to watch it tonight. You better believe that. As soon as I get off of here, I'll be looking it up.
Now you know a lot of the little inside things about it.
That makes it so much more pleasurable for me, as well as knowing kind of some of the behind the scenes, and then actually getting to talk to you. My power just went out. Thank God that I'm on a laptop that has a battery. I
what happened?
Know how that
it's saying good night. It's time to say goodbye.
Well, I don't live where he lives, but I'll make sure he watches the movie when the power comes back on. I'll harass him till he does.
Light, to be honest.
All right. Well, definitely. Thanks again. I'm gonna check out. There goes his light.
Studio light overheated.
I'll definitely check out the Facebook that you mentioned to see if I get a different result from it there as well too. Thanks for explaining that. I really appreciate that as well.
Well, thank you so much, and it was a pleasure.
All right.
All hail the Queen.
All hail the Queen. Have a great rest of your weekend, Cynthia. Thank you.
Too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Cynthia Rothrock, as we mentioned, queen of the martial
now I
arts.
can freak out. I had to hold my cool down while she was on, but now I can freak out.
You're gonna. What'd you say earlier?
Cynthia Rothrock, dude.
You said
for an hour,
bro.
This is what he has to deal with in the messages, y'all. When he first told me Cynthia Rothrock, I'm like, no effing way. I was freaking out.
Yeah, he was actually freaking out. I was like, all right, calm down. It hasn't happened yet. Calm down. Now that it's happened, he's allowed to freak out a little bit. Yes.
So awesome.
Yeah, I am so thankful she came on. I was really looking forward to talking to Richard Norton when he said he was going to come on, so we could talk about some of these very same things that she talked to with us.
Sure.
That style of movie filming they did in Hong Kong and stuff, because he did a lot of those as well. But definitely a great loss. He'll be missed as well. Like, we've had a big thing this year, man, with people. What is it? I mean, it's been a bad year so far. It's like our whole childhood is being gutted out. It seems like,
dude. Did you know we even lost Theo?
Yes,
from the Cosby.
Yes, Malcolm Jamal Warner. You had didn't you turn around and had right after that Ozzy? Then right after Ozzy, you had Hulk Hogan. The guy that was the he's a jazz artist, I think. What was his name? Chuck Mangione.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't even want to think that there's a meme
I put a list
around.
of the ones I could remember on my mom's page a couple of days ago, and it was just like, are you kidding me? Like, wow, how did we lose so many?
There's a meme floating around, if you haven't seen it yet, where they've got Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton wrapped up. Right. Have you seen the meme floating around where they got Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton wrapped up in bubble wrap?
Yeah.
So nothing happens to them. I mean,
and don't forget Val. We lost Val.
Who?
Val Kilmer, dude.
Oh yes, yes. Gosh.
Yeah. Well,
When you
Val
said
Kilmer.
Val, I thought you were like shortening somebody's name or something. I'm like, what's Val short
Oh
for?
no.
Val- Um, yeah, man, it's been a bad year altogether for stuff, for celebrity deaths, and hopefully we
Somebody
don't
told
get.
me, I don't know if you know who she is, but somebody told me that Amberelle, I don't know what happened. I'm gonna Google that. I don't know if you know who Amberelle is. She's a big Food Network. She's a chef with the tall blonde hair.
What's her name again?
Amberelle.
Yes, she was on. She's an Iron Chef, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I know she was. Yeah, she was on all those cooking shows that came on, the competition shows and all that. No, I didn't know about that. If that's true,
I
I
don't
didn't
know
know
if it's
that.
true or not. That's what I heard. But what is it? What's another one? Kenneth Connolly from Star Wars. We lost him. We don't want to talk about this. We just interviewed
Yeah.
Doggo.
I mean, come on. Let's not bring a downer to the
This ain't the
show.
tangent we want to go down.
Oh,
We'll save that for another episode.
that's right. Or we'll just cut it all out together, one or the other. Who knows?
Let's
Maybe we'll leave it
let's
in.
do that. We don't want to.
Maybe we'll leave it in just for the banter that we usually
Cynthia
have that we didn't do
Rothrock.
early on. So, but yeah, that's yeah. When we're done with this, y'all aren't going to see the whole full fanboying out bit we're going to have when we get off the air here. So, but we do thank all you guys for listening to us. If you like the show today, make sure you do subscribe to us. Make sure you follow us, share us to all your friends and everything that like these type of movies and these type of interviews, and get that algorithm going for us. Get us noticed out there.
Get it.
Leave some reviews. Leave us some 5-star rating on Spotify.
If you're not reviewing us, review our guests. We don't have some.
Hey, we're getting up there.
We got a pretty good little catalog going. I feel like
we're getting up there. So
getting up there, and go watch Black Creek.
And definitely go watch Black Creek. Watch Lady Scorpions too. That was just last year.
Pay for it. Support Cynthia. Pay for it. Buy it. Don't wait for it to come out for free on Netflix or something. Go and support them. That's what happens when you make a purchase online, or you get a good video game on your little phone that you like playing. You're supporting the developers. So if we purchase her product while it's out for purchase instead of waiting a year later for it to come out for free, we're supporting.
Which is what I just did this past Friday night when I bought Black Creek. I was wanting to do that because she was nice enough to come on for sure. And I thought, man, at least I can do is buy this movie. I want to watch it. I've been waiting to see it. There was one question I wanted to ask her that I wished I did. I wish I thought about it.
I have 1,000 left. Maybe she'll
I know, man. There's so many more. When Black Creek 2 comes out, we'll have to holler at her again for sure. But I wanted to ask her about Caitlin Deshelle and working with her and Lady Scorpions, because I told you that I felt like she could be, the next Cynthia Rothrock.
I've seen the first probably 30 minutes of it, and she was kicking tail there in the beginning. She had good movement too. I was wanting to ask her, as you know, I feel like as a lifelong martial artist, you're also, and she confirmed that she's also a fan of films and stuff like that. Who would be the next? Maybe not Cynthia Rothrock, but who are some of the younger, if she is paying attention, stars that we should keep our eye on?
I do know. In one interview I've seen with her fandom lies a lot more with still the Hong Kong type stuff.
For sure,
she does like some of the things over here, but she likes a lot more of that over there. So she would probably come up with somebody that she's seen in one of the.
Well, that's I'm loving Netflix for bringing stuff over here. Like one of the best live actions I've ever seen is two of them. They're from animes, but you got Full Metal Alchemist and then Rurouni Kenshin, and those are some of the best. I mean, they're over the top. They're based on mangas, but they're amazing. But some of the other stuff, like the school, I forget what the name of the movies are. It's a string of them as well, but it's like school versus school, or like you got the gangs running around that band together, and like old school Hong Kong gang movies and stuff. It's really, really good stuff going on.
All right. Well, Travis, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up and get up out of here. Hang around for a little bit if you don't mind. And
I got a few minutes. I got to get back to work.
I know. And then we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for being with us today. Let us know what you thought about this. If you want to see more like this, and we'll try our best to get some more people on that you guys will enjoy. So in the meantime, I guess stay retro, Travis.
Oh yeah, retro for life.